next on the list here is Dark. What do you have for us?
I had. That's a good question. Um,
Do you want me to
I
read it?
have
Yes.
Himesama Goumon no Jikan desu, which is "'Tis time
Yes.
for torture princess."
Yes.
And
This is
this is
very
a
this is manga original, I believe.
yeah, this is a manga original. This is being done by Pine Jam. Um,
Pine Jam. Okay.
and yeah, and this is a very, very, very episodic series. Though it has like some carryover and like certain bits, and whatnot. But the main shtick is that each episode is divided up into a few different segments of different quote unquote tortures. And the bit that this runs is that it is a fantasy. It's like a fantasy world. And the captured princess is like a warrior princess, paladin type. And then, but the gimmick is essentially that the demons are basically like not evil, whatsoever, but they're like being treated as if this is like, typical RPG logic where, the demon lord is there and the hero has to defeat the demon lord. Um, it is very reminiscent of um, what is it? I can't remember. Is it Mao de Yasumi?
Oh,
Yeah,
the
I'll
one
give you
with
that. Yeah.
the pillow, like the sleeping princess in like the
Majo
jail cage or
de
whatever, right? Or
Yasumi.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
Yasumi. Yeah.
yeah. So this is very reminiscent of it because like all the forms of torture are very like basic. Well, not basic things, but like certain like
but you
small
said that,
joys.
yeah, you said that Maojo de Oyasumi, you ultimately gave that. Did you ultimately give that a relatively, at least below average score, right? Because you said it was so repetitive with the shtick, right? I think. Um,
So I think I gave it a pretty
did
below
you?
average. I gave it a little below average score when I initially watched it. I think when I was able to do a full
Okay,
watch through, I
You-
kind of came out liking it a little bit more.
okay,
Um,
okay. So how do you
but
compare to this in terms of like the repetition and everything,
so
or like
I'd
how
have
does this
to
compare to that?
I would have to go through more of this, but I would say the problem I'm seeing right now, 4 episodes in, is that like Majo de Yasumi, at least like it had a little bit more follow through with things. Like there was always a bigger background like element going on, or like an end goal essentially. This has not
Right. Yeah.
had
Yeah. Yeah.
that so much yet, or at least like the things that are getting tied together really hasn't paid off in some way to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it does do that. However, but yeah, so like the forms of torture, it's like it opens. The first form of torture is um the uh the torturer named Torture Tortura
Oh yeah.
fanning
Very
like
creative.
fanning
Yes.
a perfectly toasted slice of bread, like brioche bread,
Right.
towards
Right.
the
So it's those sorts
princess.
of like can't resist kind of
Yeah,
tortures. Yeah.
very like very small joys kind of thing. And where I think this series really shines though is its audio visuals during a lot of this. So this series, when they do food, kind of goes all out and does like really high tier like food porn type stuff. Like
Oh shit.
they are not holding back. Like with especially with the toast scene, like her pulling apart the toast, they very much go hard with that.
I ain't gonna lie,
Um
that already kind of makes it because last season, was it last season or the season before, where you had to cover the one with I believe the Sugita as the demon lord and Hayami Saudi, I think, as the Ojo-sama, right? and it was like it was about no the wizard, not the demon lord, but it's
Oh
like
yeah,
the
the
wizard
naughty. Yeah.
like had
Well, yeah. He had
yeah
like the
the
nickname, the Demon Lord.
yeah, and he like was trying to corrupt quote unquote the princess by teaching her all sorts of quote unquote naughty stuff like like eating sweets or whatever stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, the difference, at least again, and a very important difference, especially in this sort of genre or this line of anime series, is honestly I think the food porn, right? Because you
Well,
got to have
yeah. I
something
mean,
to look at least.
unfortunately, the prior series we were just talking about that actually wound up being more of a larger through line story than it was like an
Mhm.
episodic thing, which in some ways was a bit unfortunate because it's like they were kind of really it was kind of really a reach as to like towards the end when
Mhm.
it's like, oh, this is like the thing you're not supposed to do um today, like this is our lesson this time. And it's like by the end of the series, like it was really reaching with like that sort of thing where it wasn't even like guilty pleasures. um
Right.
so that got a bit unfortunate with that. This does not seem to be letting up. And yeah, like for example, there was like they've gone through just for a couple, like it's not always food either. There have been, there was like video games at one point. There was like going to an amusement park. There's been things like that. Though I do think that the food sections have kind of been the shining part just because
Yeah, the
of
star of the
how
show.
much effort,
Yeah.
how much effort they've been putting into it. Like, in a recent one, it was Ward is like the demon lord, Mao, like a perfectly poured can of beer. Um, and yeah, and the animation, like the length they went through to like animate the foam, was very impressive, and very good looking. So
By the way,
I think that's
I'm
kind of like
curious.
the
Wait, did
main.
you watch the? Did you watch the Kofuku graffiti? Right? Did you? Did you?
Yes, I watched a little bit of
Did
it.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, can you compare it real quick to that in terms of the food porn? And I guess food war.
I mean, I don't really know about Food War, but I would say it's like kind of on par. I would say it's pretty impressive.
Wow,
Like
that
it
is
is,
good.
they're kind of killing it.
Yeah, for
The
those of you who
animated
don't
like
know,
egg
like
yolk
yeah,
breaking on the ramen, like with the ramen, was really
fuck.
good.
Yeah,
There's
for
been a
those of you who
lot.
don't know, like Kufka Graffiti is like I would say probably one of the kind of representative food porn anime in recent years. Although, as I say, recent years, it was like made in like 2010s in the past like decade or so, right? So, but it's definitely like one of the premier examples of food porn, right? So yeah, it's impressive that I would say a much smaller series that it like Pine Jam. Yeah, what was like the last kind of notable series that they did? Like, they got
Oh,
that one multimedia contract with Paradox Live, the animation, like last season or something like that,
yeah,
but that was kind of
yeah.
whatever, right? Unless they
I
got a
mean,
lot of
that
money from
blew
that.
up. I
But,
mean,
like,
I guess they're
before
still
that
doing Kubo Mob. Like they are still
yeah,
doing that.
yeah,
That is
it's probably
continuing.
that plus the Paradox Live animation money.
Yeah. I
But
mean, there's
then, like, the
Kageki
last, like, good
Shoujo
one
like
that they
kind of
did was
popped
Do It
off.
Yourself. Yeah. Oh, right, Kageki Shoujo, right. So they probably have, like, a decent amount of money for that from that. But, like, the last series that I remember kind of enjoying from them, apologies to all the Paradox Live fans out there, but the last one that I really enjoyed was, Do It Yourself, right? I think that was the last one
Yeah.
that, I remember, but it's good to see that some of the money kind of went to this.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. Yeah, every now and then you have to take your like what would you call it? Your Fujo L. You got to take it. You got to get some get some money, keep the lights
The
on.
Fujo tax?
Yeah. You got
Yeah.
to keep the lights on. Like, look, do
It's
it
like
yourself.
it's like that and the isekai tax.
I really enjoyed Do It Yourself. Do It Yourself popped off a little bit, which is nice
Do It
for what
Yourself
it
was
was.
great.
But do it
Yeah.
yourself was also probably way more expensive than it like should have been with the talent that
Yeah,
they were
especially in
using, especially
comparison to
because
how
there were a
much
lot of
it
like
probably pulled in.
yeah, there were a lot of like there was a lot of like Western talent on it as well.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. But yeah, this is kind of killing it. I think they did a really good job with the bits. I think it's very fun. I am a bit of a sucker for the type of, you know, because like Majo de Asami really like did it a little bit with the Demon King in it, but the Demon King in that was very much like the Demon Lord in that was very much what would you call it? He was like a I don't know, like a bishy boy, right? Like he was a handsome guy.
Yeah.
The Demon Lord in this is very much not. He is a JRPG Demon Lord through and through. He's a big purple bald guy with horns, voiced by Genda Tesho. Um,
Oh
and
shit! Really?
yes, and it's very
Nice.
much played. A lot of it is played very straight, which I really enjoy, and makes the bits very funny. Where
Pretty good.
like, they'll have like the demon lord, because for some reason like the princess always gives them information, right? Like that's another part of the bit. Like she'll
Mhm.
give them information like, oh, like this is like the schedule where like the guard shifts change at the empire's castle. um and then at one point they were like, oh yeah, you know, the demon lord is monologuing like, wow, to think we got this information on this empire's weapon, to think they have something like that. And one of his like confidants asked him like, okay, like my lord, we're going to use that weapon against them, right? And he's like, and he just with a straight face delivered by Genetesho has the bit of being like, no, that's terrifying. So there's a lot of like, a lot of like they're spinning their wheels with this, but it's played very, very straight. I'll link to you as well. This is the most. No, I copy that. That's not. I don't know how that got copied, but I copied that. But yeah, the most recent episode had this beer scene that I linked to chat as well. And it's quite good. Like I said, the food stuff has kind of been where it really shines. It's very nice to see audio visuals
Mhm.
like this. Its audio visuals in general are
So
very, very
funny.
nice, I will say. Um, Pine Jam's like really, really pulling out all stops with a lot of stuff here. There's like just the standard visuals are nice. The visual bits are very good. It's not in that. I'll see if I can find the toast scene as well, but there is like, like the princess in her imagination like bouncing on top of like, a giant piece of toast. But it's very fluid, it's very well animated. There are magic scenes that are very well animated. Obviously, it still turns into a comedy at the end of the day. Um, but the
Right.
effects are really good. The fight in the beginning is very good because there is a like like a pre-captivity like fight that happens, and it's kind of impressive how much they are kind of pulling out for that stuff. Um,
Right.
you would really think that it wouldn't be the case, but hey, I'm all for it. Like if they want to blow budget on stuff like that, then by all means, like use it. And yeah, there's just like I'm not gonna spoil like all the bits, but there are a lot of really good ones, especially based on voice actors. Kind of a star-studded cast here,
Really?
realistically. Yeah, I mean like the princess being voiced by Shiraishi Haruka. Very
Okay.
notable role being um I mean, I guess like Fumino from oh my god, why can't I remember the name of this? Yeah, like the We Never Learn Bokuben. So she's a main in
Oh,
Bokuben, but
okay.
my important role being a Sherpa from Golden Kamui.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah, she's also in Sahara and Masoka Tensei, just to name a
Mhm.
few. Then obviously we have. Oh, I didn't even mention another part of the cast, which is also a really good bit. X, which is also in captivity with her, and is a sentient sword that can speak, which
Oh
is voiced
shit.
by yeah, Chikahiro Kobayashi. And so he's
Hmm.
playing a lot of the straight man, which also is cool because again, like we had a Sherpa, and now we also have him, which is Sugimoto from Golden Kamuy. So we have the two
Yes,
leads
as
from
well as
Golden Kamuy
Riku.
here.
Oh shit, real? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fuck,
So we
that's
have the
right.
two leads. But yeah, other roles of note from him: Legacy from Beastars and
Yes.
Ranga from Slime Tensei, just as the I guess top three notable on Mahal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so his deliveries have been very good, being the straight man for the most part. Um, and yeah, I mean we have supporting like Ono Daisuke coming in. Oh yeah, I guess like the Torture Tortua is Shizuka Ito. So she's kind of killing it with her sort of like very very serious voice, delivering some very very silly lines. And I guess yeah, they're like we have Ono, we have Daisuke Ono, we have Kaino Ai, um, and these are supporting roles now, by the way. So Daisuke Ono and Kaino Ai playing supporting roles, like one-off character bits.
I'm just surprised that
And
like this all kind of came together like this. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it is Pine Jam, and yeah, they obviously have quite a few notable series under their belt in the recent years. But even so, like the audio visuals coming together properly, the cast obviously being no, small, potatoes, right? And uh, not only that, but the direction clearly making it so that this story, this premise, isn't falling in the same sort of roadside as some of the other stuff where it's like a lot of like the shtick kind of sometimes becomes repetitive. I'm surprised it did pan out quite nicely. Like I said, obviously pleasantly surprised. Um, do you have any words on the opening ending?
the opening is pretty standard. Weirdly, a lot of it is a lot of it has like combat stuff in it, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's kind of more of like a tone setter of, I guess, like world and like sort of the juxtaposition between her situation before and now. Because they do obviously they
Hmm.
have the prison stuff. Um, it's kind of establishing, I guess, character bits as well, where like the demon lord is this big serious guy, but then it's like, fast forward beyond that, like his daughter comes in, and then he becomes like, almost like I guess like the you say like the demon lord in Sullivan in Irakun, where he's like very doting. Um,
Hmm.
and so like that's kind of his shtick. And yeah, ED is very, very cozy. ED has a sort of like crayon cartoony style to it almost. Not quite on that level, but almost like that, or like chalk drawing kind of stuff. Which I guess is another thing to mention about the audio visuals is that there are also some like cutesier comedy sort of reaction things or internal like thoughts that are displayed in a similar style to that, which has also been quite nice to have like that sort of change up as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of killing it with this. I think this is very very good, and I really hope to see more because
Yeah. Again,
it'll
I'm very
be
surprised that everything kind of came together properly.
yeah, it'll be very very nice. And yeah, I would highly recommend it. I'm thinking of more parts now too that are just coming to mind of like just it is essentially like a comedy bit, but they dive what do you say, like not really divest, they invest like a ton of budget into kind of really selling the bits with really good audio visuals. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's
again,
impressive.
that makes like the media kind of distinct. Like it stands on its own as like an anime series, and not just a promotional for the manga plus version or whatever, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like oh yeah, I mean compared to what'd you call it? Compared to the manga, like I mean at this point I would say like there's realistically probably no reason to read the manga. Like
Mhm.
not like as much as that's like I feel like that's like a kind of a rude thing to say, but like this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
elevating it far beyond what you could ever do with the manga to begin with. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
And that's
it's
again,
one of
that's
those
what
things. It's like
anime
this
is
is
supposed to be
the
about. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, realistically, it's like you can't really ask for more at that point, right? Like this is definitely
yeah.
something. If someone was a fan of this prior, I would assume this was probably a slightly smaller series prior, but this would be like what anyone could ask for. Like this level of care would be,
Right.
you know, you could only pray that your favorite series would get a treatment like this.
Anyways, thank you, Dark. You want to tack on your mouse score there?
So Maha's is sitting at a 6.8. Like I would give this I would say this is like a 7, right? Because like
Okay.
it's not gonna be for everyone, you know, obviously. It's a very gimmicky
Mm,
show. Um I mean, if this is something that you're into, if this is something like you really want to watch, this is like, or like if you enjoyed something like Maja de Yasumi, something like that, I would say this is like a must watch. Like this is like an instant watch, right? Because if you would rank
right.
something like that high, then this would be way up there. But yeah, I would give this like a 7 as like a fair, you know, standard rating. Because, you know, like I said, story is not really like anything crazy, but I think the comedy pulls through at times, and I think
Mm,
the audio visuals, like elevate everything to a point where it kind of like overperforms.
mm. Yeah, I definitely think it's if this isn't one of the I guess candidates for um I guess most pleasant surprise of the year it probably should be up.
Yeah,
Definitely a good
probably.
sign.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something I keep in mind for that for sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark. Again, the name is "Tis Time for Torture, Princess." That's the localized title. The Japanese title is "Himesama Goumon no Jikan desu." And this is a manga original. It is actually an online, like electronic, digitally published manga, and it should be available on Shueisha's own digital manga app, which is on Shonen Jump Plus, aka their not Shonen Jump Plus, excuse me. The app is Manga Plus, and it publishes their Shonen Jump Plus series, manga series, digital manga line, right? And again, one of them is "Tis Time for Torture Princess" by Robinson Haruhara and Hirake. So please do check at least the anime out, and maybe even the manga when you guys have time.